They thought they escaped the damage they caused you. They thought your silence meant they won. And maybe that's the part that hurts the most. Not the betrayal itself, but the way they walked away afterward, as if your pain meant nothing. As if the nights you spent questioning your worth, the anxiety, the memories, the emotional wreckage they left behind, were just small, collateral damage in the story of their selfishness. You replayed everything in your mind 1,000 times. How someone who once looked into your eyes with warmth could suddenly become cold enough to destroy your peace and sleep peacefully afterward. Meanwhile, you were left carrying invisible scars nobody could see. And deep down, a painful question kept haunting you. Will they ever truly understand what they did to me? Because when someone betrays you, it feels unfair when life appears to reward them. They smile, they post happy photos, they move on quickly, and you begin to wonder if karma is just a comforting lie people tell broken hearts. But here is what nobody tells you about karma. Karma is rarely loud in the beginning. It doesn't always strike instantly like lightning in a movie scene. Sometimes it arrives slowly, psychologically, spiritually, internally. Sometimes the punishment is not losing money, status, or relationships. Sometimes the punishment is becoming the kind of person who can never escape themselves. And tonight, you're about to discover the 3 terrifying signs that karma has already started moving toward the person who betrayed you. Because what goes around never disappears. It waits, and eventually, it returns. Part 1, their peace begins to disappear. The strange thing about betrayal is this: the person who gets hurt feels the pain first, but the person who caused the pain often carries it longer. At first, the betrayer feels powerful. They justify what they did. They create stories to protect themselves. They blame you. They convince themselves you were too emotional, too difficult, or too sensitive. This is how the human ego survives guilt. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." And that is exactly what betrayers do in the beginning. They run from self-awareness because silence would force them to confront the damage they caused. But karma begins quietly, not through external punishment, but through internal erosion. Their peace starts disappearing in subtle ways. They become restless when alone. They constantly seek distractions. They need noise, validation, attention, new relationships, endless scrolling, temporary highs, anything to avoid the growing emptiness inside them. Why? Because betrayal fractures the soul of the betrayer too. A person cannot repeatedly hurt others without slowly damaging their own emotional foundation. Eventually, their mind becomes a prison filled with rationalizations, suppressed guilt, paranoia, and emotional instability. And here's the irony. The same person who once made you feel emotionally unsafe slowly becomes emotionally unsafe within themselves. You may not see it publicly. Most people hide their chaos well. Some laugh louder while secretly breaking apart internally. Some post happiness online while battling unbearable silence at night. Some move into new relationships not because they healed, but because they cannot tolerate being alone with themselves anymore. This is why karma often begins psychologically before it becomes physical. Because the mind never fully escapes what the soul knows. And maybe right now, while you are rebuilding yourself, they are beginning to feel something unfamiliar creeping into their life: restlessness, emptiness, anxiety, a strange inability to feel genuine peace, not because you cursed them, not because revenge destroyed them, but because every betrayal leaves fingerprints on the conscience, and eventually, those fingerprints become impossible to wash away. Part 2. The trust they broke begins breaking around them. There comes a moment in every betrayer's life when the universe places them on the opposite side of the wound. And when it happens, it changes them forever. At first, they never imagine it could happen to them. Why would they? People who betray others often operate from hidden arrogance. They believe they control the emotional game. They believe they are smarter, more desirable, more emotionally detached. They think consequences belong to other people. But karma has a terrifying symmetry. The pain people casually create for others eventually circles back, often through different faces, different situations, different relationships. One day, someone lies to them. One day, someone abandons them emotionally. One day, someone replaces them the same way they replaced you. And suddenly, your tears begin making sense to them. Not intellectually, emotionally. That's the difference, because humans rarely understand pain through explanation. They understand it through experience. The person who once ignored your sleepless nights eventually lies awake staring at the ceiling themselves. The same confusion they caused inside you begins growing inside them. Was any of it real? How could they move on so fast? Why do I suddenly feel worthless? And karma whispers, now you understand. There's an old Buddhist idea that every action plants a seed. Some seeds bloom quickly, others take years. But eventually, the emotional energy we release into the world returns to us in another form, not as magic, as psychology. Because people who normalize betrayal unconsciously attract unstable connections. Why? Because when someone repeatedly chooses deception over honesty, they slowly lose the ability to recognize genuine trust. They begin suspecting everyone, questioning loyalty, overthinking messages, fearing abandonment. The very chaos they once created becomes the atmosphere they live inside, and perhaps the deepest punishment of all. They eventually meet someone they truly care about, someone they genuinely do not want to lose. But by then, karma has already shaped their inner world. Their trust is damaged. Their fear is stronger. Their conscience remembers who they used to be. So they sabotage the relationship themselves. This is one of life's hidden laws. A person who betrays others eventually struggles to believe in love itself. Because betrayal changes not only the victim, it corrupts the betrayer's ability to feel emotionally secure ever again. Meanwhile, you, the person they wounded, may slowly begin healing, becoming wiser, deeper, stronger. And that is what makes karma so poetic. Sometimes your healing becomes part of their punishment, because one day they look back and realize they didn't destroy you. They destroyed the rare version of love they may never find again. Part 3. Their mask begins to fall apart. One of the most painful parts of betrayal is watching the person who hurt you continue being admired by others. People still praise them, still trust them, still believe their version of the story. And meanwhile, you sit there carrying wounds nobody else can see, wondering if the world will ever recognize what they truly are beneath the surface. But here is something history has shown again and again. No mask survives forever. Not in relationships, not in friendships, not in life, because maintaining a false identity is exhausting. Eventually, cracks begin to appear. The manipulator becomes careless. The liar contradicts themselves. The selfish person repeats the same destructive patterns with new people. And over time, others begin noticing the emotional wreckage surrounding them. This is one of karma's deepest mechanisms. People eventually reveal themselves through repetition. A single mistake can be hidden, a pattern cannot. That's why wise people never obsess over exposing betrayers. Time usually does it naturally. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who fights monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster." Many betrayed people lose themselves trying to seek revenge, trying to destroy the image of the person who hurt them. But karma often works more powerfully when you step back and let truth unfold on its own timeline, because false people eventually collapse under the burden of pretending. And here's what's terrifying. The collapse usually begins internally before it becomes public. They start feeling disconnected from their own identity. They become performative instead of authentic. Every relationship becomes transactional. Every interaction becomes calculated. They lose the ability to feel emotionally genuine because they spent too long manipulating emotions instead of honoring them. Imagine wearing a mask for so many years that you forget what your real face looks like. That is psychological karma. And eventually, the external world catches up too. Friends distance themselves, people lose trust, relationships become unstable, reputation quietly weakens, not because the universe is dramatic, but because character always leaks through behavior eventually. You can only fake kindness for so long. You can only hide selfishness for so long. You can only betray people repeatedly before patterns become visible. And perhaps the saddest part of all, many betrayers do not realize what they lost until their image begins collapsing. That's when regret arrives. Not always because they suddenly became good people, but because consequences finally stripped away their illusions. And while they are scrambling to hold together the identity they built on deception, you may already be transforming into someone far stronger than the person they abandoned. Because pain, when survived consciously, creates depth. And depth is something fake people can imitate, but never truly possess. Part 4. Your greatest revenge is becoming emotionally untouchable. There is a dangerous trap many betrayed people fall into. They become emotionally chained to the person who hurt them, not through love anymore, but through obsession with justice. They wait for updates. They secretly hope life destroys them. They imagine the day the betrayer finally suffers the same pain. And while that desire is human, staying trapped there keeps your soul connected to the wound. Because revenge has a hidden cost, it forces your future to remain emotionally dependent on your past. But true healing begins when something shifts inside you. You stop asking, when will karma find them? And you begin asking, how do I rebuild myself after surviving this? That question changes everything, because the highest form of karma is not always watching someone else collapse. Sometimes the highest form of karma is your transformation. Think about it carefully. The person who betrayed you expected you to break permanently. They expected your confidence to disappear. They expected your spirit to remain wounded long after they left. But what happens when the opposite occurs? What happens when your pain becomes wisdom? When your loneliness becomes self-respect? When your heartbreak becomes emotional intelligence? That is when the balance of life truly shifts. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And perhaps that is the deepest truth of all. Do not let betrayal turn you cold. Do not let pain make you cruel. Do not let disappointment poison your ability to love genuinely. Because people who betray others often destroy themselves slowly through ego, dishonesty, and emotional emptiness. But people who heal consciously become dangerous in a completely different way. They become peaceful, and peaceful people are powerful because they no longer need external validation to feel whole. One day, you will wake up and realize something extraordinary. You no longer replay the betrayal every night. You no longer crave explanations. You no longer need closure from the person who hurt you. Why? Because you finally gave closure to yourself. And that is the moment karma finishes its work. Not when they cry, not when they fail, not when life punishes them publicly, but when you emotionally outgrow the version of yourself that once needed their apology to move forward. That is true freedom. So if you are listening to this while carrying heartbreak, betrayal, abandonment, or silent grief, remember this carefully. Some people enter your life to love you. Others enter your life to awaken you. And sometimes the people who hurt you the most unknowingly push you toward the strongest version of yourself. The universe never ignores energy. What people give eventually returns. What people destroy eventually teaches. What people betray eventually exposes them. But your task is not to become consumed by karma. Your task is to become someone pain can no longer control. Because in the end, The people who betrayed you must live with themselves forever, but you still have the chance to become someone entirely new, and that may be the greatest victory of all.